All right, so I chose some different actions. You know, ones like this, I flatten them just on the colors. Select them all, copy them, and then paste them into my original. Like so. And that really changes it. And it shows you areas that are different. And then you can blend them in with different opacities and see what you like. And we just want the color to be inviting and engaging and reveal more about our picture. Make it better than the black and white. I can play with putting my dodging and burning over the top of it or down underneath. Right. Or putting it over the top of it and then just playing with the opacity of it. Maybe I don't need it quite so strong. All right. Let's see, are there any other colors? I don't think I want this. These are all pretty similar. I mean, this one's a little different. Maybe I'll see what that looks like. Nah, it's too bright. He's a blues musician, not a samba guitarist. All right, so once I'm happy with everything, how do I submit it? How do I save it? Well, I get it to the right balance. Even at this point, I can go and I can work on painting in little bits, right? If I want a little bit more brown in the hair, because that division looks a little too artificial, I can do that underneath the blacks and grays. Remember, the blacks and gray layers are always on multiply, so that they let this all through. And without those, we have a digital painting. You know, pretty interesting. And we can modify that as much as we want. If something looks really wrong like that, I can just fix it right on this digital painting layer. And work with it. And then everything will turn out. So, once we're happy with it, we of course save it as our PSD file, and now it's got all these different layers to its coloring. All this depth. I think I like that. And then, of course, we can save it as a JPEG, as our final colored version, and it should be large enough to print, right? We used high resolution imagery here. "10 megapixels or bigger, plenty big enough for a nice high quality print. That's going to reveal all of our little brushwork. That's okay. So I'll save it as a JPEG to the desktop. With all these layers at high resolution, these get to be quite big files. Mine is about 670 megabytes as a PSD file. As a JPEG, it will be a lot smaller. And now, I want to make sure I have the original there, which I kept on the very bottom here. Make sure that's saved as a JPEG. with a different name. So I'll call this original. And we've done a lot. We've taken the original image and we've added a ton of color to it. And we've really made it our own in multiple steps. Like so. Now, what I think looks nice in a portfolio is to actually show them side by side. Yeah. So we can do that as well. And to do that, you're going to open up your JPEGs. I have my colored JPEG here. Where did it save my, I think it saved my black and white JPEG. I didn't move it to the desktop, so it saved it within my folder. So let me open that up. This is assignment 10. So here's my original JPEG. I'm going to move that to the desktop. And those are the only two things you're required to put into PhotoBucket. But it can also be fun to do this. Open up your original JPEG with Photoshop. Then go to canvas size, and let's put it at the top and leave space underneath it. Or you can do them side by side, however you like. If it was a portrait, I would do it side by side because this is landscape format. I'm doing it top and bottom. And I'm going to make the height a little bit more than double. So let me make it 24 inches. And then that gives me enough space to bring in my color JPEG underneath. Hold down Shift and move it down. Come on. So it doesn't move. Put some space in between them. So you can see before and after. Crop just to the edge of the photo, maybe a little bit of extra space on the bottom. And now give them a little bit of canvas size all the way around. So let's make the width 16 and the height 25. So now we have a nice portfolio print that shows your colorization and what that brings to the project. It can also be retouching and any other kind of changes you did. And then I'm going to save that as a Photoshop file for me, but I'm going to call this colorization before and after. And remember, we used images that we have the rights to. You know, either public domain image, like this public domain image of Lead Valley, or photos from our own family. But this really shows the technique that we learned. And then save it as a JPEG, because if you do that extra step, I'd like you to also upload it. It's like a one-stop shop showing you what you can accomplish by controlling the color digitally. Okay, and then in this case, those three images would go up to our class photo bucket. I'll put mine under assignment 10, instructor demonstrations. And because colorization is so arbitrary, you might decide to color it differently later on, and that's why we save those PSD files. So there was my Woody Guthrie. This will be my Lead Belly example. Just showing before and after. But you can also just show them this way. as two separate photos that you upload. And that's all there is to it. I wanted to upload. Remember, these are quite large. So as you're saving them as a JPEG, you can reduce their quality if you need to. I usually say no more than 5 megabytes. Guessing this one's taking a little bit because it's probably a little bit larger than 5 megabytes. It might be quite a bit larger. Let's see. This is just the JPEG. Then I go to image size. I see it's 179 megabytes as a Photoshop file. But if I say files, save as a JPEG, it will tell me under preview how much it is here. So let's reduce it a little bit. That should pop up. I guess my computer's a little tired from all the work. Yes, that's 15. So let me take it down to fewer than 5. Then it will upload without any problem. That will work. Okay. That will save a lot quicker as well. So if you are having trouble uploading your colorization, it's because you want to just reduce the quality of your JPEG so that it compresses more and can upload faster for online viewing. And then it did the old one too. Of course it did. Okay. And then when we look at them, we'll see how much color can add to the story. I think I did a better job on Lead Belly than I did on Woody Guthrie. He looks very festive. And then you want to organize all your files. I probably don't remind you of this enough, but then you take all your files, you move them back into your folder. And I'll usually mark my PSD as green because that's what I would make my print-ready versions off of for my portfolio. And we will have that finished portfolio at the end of the semester. Thank you.